All
So what's
right.
up?
So, we are doing this discussion about perception of reality here. I'm going to start off with my subtopic, TV perception of reality. So, I want to talk about, video games, social media, mainstream media, TV shows like Netflix, stuff like that. So, like you said, one of your subtopics is our perception of reality isn't reality, which is, pretty true, because if you watch the TV, you see this TV, you're automatically already programmed into this device that's not even, we're technically on a device right now speaking to each other, but like, we're real people.
I know, that's weird to even think about.
Yeah. We're real people. But when it comes
to... dude, that's so fucking weird to think about.
When it comes to something like mainstream media, though, like my dad, for instance, he's like what I would consider a bot. Like, he is programmed by the TV, listens to everything these people on media sites say, and he kind of... sometimes he can be kind of an asshole just because, like, when you watch TV and you give into this reality that they shape for you, it makes you think, it makes you angry. It makes you think that there's other things going on that might not necessarily be true.
It blows my mind seeing the state of what people on the news and stuff, and certain commercials, and like how celebrities act and stuff. As far as like TV, that kind of perception of reality, they're trying to like hold up a certain image of how things are, what kind of people are beautiful, what kind of people are cool, what kind of people are successful and powerful. And when you watch this TV, that program, you aren't seeing the reality of the situation, which is, in its essence, the experience of what's going on, which is the TV, the screen, the images on the screen. And what you pick out of it is these labels and these images and these messages out of it that have been, kind of like you said, already programmed for you, or like set in for you. Is that what you said?
Yeah, it's like, so for instance, Netflix shows. You watch Netflix and they already have these stereotypes, and they want to condition and indoctrinate people into thinking a certain way spiritually or politically. Like for instance, like I saw a clip of this TV show that, now this isn't like necessarily from a spiritual sense, it's more like kind of like changing somebody's perception, but it was this scene of this little girl who was claiming that she's transgender, and like I don't have a problem with that at all, but like she's claiming that she's transgender, and she's in this doctor's office, and the doctor was calling her he, because that was their biological sex as they were born. And her sister got angry at the doctors, was like, why are you doing this, like you guys should be ashamed of yourselves, blah blah blah. And they're just promoting these agendas on TV.
Yeah.
And it conditions the population to think a certain way. It's like, oh, if these TV shows kind of have it this way, then it's got to be kind of like that. And
no.
Another example.
I haven't thought of the transgender thing really. Where I'm at now in my mind and how I look at things, my perception of reality, the transgender thing is very much so a perception of reality. And, just to bring it back to the actual reality of the situation, which I don't know what direction you guys take when you hear the phrase perception of reality. But when I hear that phrase, what I immediately think is that it's two things. There's two things going on. There's perception and reality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're perceiving something. And we misinterpret reality for the perceptions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And those perceptions are these labels, categories, and metaphors, you know? Like, for example, I look at this coffee cup. What about this coffee cup says coffee cup besides the idea in your head of what you've learned and been taught, coffee cup? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The actual experience of this cup is, you know, what it looks like. And what it looks like is not the thought coffee cup. And the thought coffee cup is the perception of the reality that is whatever this
and what
really
you're
is.
observing this material thing to be.
Yes, exactly. And I feel like it's a complete, like a separate thing. And we get lost in our interpretation of it rather than what it actually is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like, I mean, there's different species of animals that exist on this third dimensional playing field that we live in. And they're able to perceive different things or see a different spectrum of colors. I mean, the way we see things, I believe, I'm not 100% sure on this. Somebody can fact check this for me, but like we see things as they vibrate to us, like they vibrate at this frequency, and that's how they appear to us physically.
You know, I've been listening to this guy on YouTube recently. I don't know how much you guys listen to like lecturers or stuff like that, but his name is Rupert Spira, and he talks about how literally that everything that's going on through your perception of reality is just vibrating energy. It's vibrating sensation, you know, like when you come to the awareness of what you're actually perceiving, when you actually notice how much you're perceiving in this very moment right now, you know, like you're probably not aware that you can feel your butt sitting in the seat you're in, or the bottoms of your feet hitting the ground, or you know what I mean? And you can even feel anywhere on your body right now by directing your awareness towards it. And that is all always in your perception of reality, the true raw reality that's actually happening, and not a conceptual imagination, which is what I, you know, think is the perception of reality, not the actual base, neutral, vibrating reality that is just happening as it is and is nameless. You know what I mean?
So what you're saying is like your perception is basically what you're consciously aware of physically at that moment.
Physically.
Like, because you said your feet hitting the ground, or like your ass sitting on the chair or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it's only when you focus on that you're automatically perceiving that to be happening at that moment.
Right. But me and my brother actually talked about this, and he said that to me. He said, feel your butt in the seat. And I'm like, yeah. And he says, I bet you didn't feel it 5 seconds ago. Yeah. And it made me think, and I said, you know how like when you're doing something and somebody's talking to you and you get a little too immersed in that thing, and all of a sudden the person says, hey, did you even hear me? And you're under the impression or perception, I didn't hear them. I didn't hear what you said. Do you think your ears biologically malfunctioned during that period? No, you heard them. But where your awareness was directed, where your perception of what was going on was directed, the focus on a certain perception was so great that you were given the impression I didn't even hear them, because you were so immersed in this one perception rather than the full actual thing going on.
Which brings me back to like TV perception reality, because people have this tunnel vision where they're only focused on this single awareness of a narrow mindset on
Mm-hmm.
media or TV shows or video games too. Like you're saying about celebrities too, like social media, like people are pretend to be this higher version of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's someone who can talk more about social media too. Like, I mean, is there anything you have to say?
Yeah, I think social media is, with the new age, I mean, people will live more on social media than in their real life. Like they'll focus more on that, and it will take all their energy day in and day out, just how many likes they have, how many followers they have, and it really just drains them. And I don't know, I feel like it's just sad.
How often do you see people posting about the bad shit happening in their life?
Yeah, never.
No, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all the I'm cool.
It's all
I'm
virtue
awesome,
signaling.
I'm beautiful, you know?
Flexing or something.
It's all like
And, what's that?
I was saying that it's all like virtue signaling. Like people want to virtue signal others. Like, oh, I care about this certain subject about, like, when the whole George Floyd thing happened in June or May or whenever. Like, that thing was so massive that there's just an enormous amount of people that were virtue signaling on constant media or on social media constantly. Like, they're just posting and posting and like trying to get people to realize, trying to get people to think that they cared enough and that they perceive the reality the same way as other people were. Like, people are just sheep they follow everything else someone says
People
or
were like,
does.
People were forced into posting something because their friends did, and they didn't want to feel like their friends would hate them or look down upon them. They wanted to be liked by everybody. So, yeah, like you said, they're sheep. They're just sheep when they follow the crowd, follow the herd.
You know how you were talking about, like, tunnel vision on the TV and you immerse your attention in it? Like, kind of like when you're watching a movie, a good movie, and you forget that you're watching a movie and you, like, immerse yourself in it and, like, are very empathetic with the experience that you're watching, and it feels like, you know, just the experience of watching a good movie. That's what people do when they're watching the news. That's what people do in day-to-day life, is this tunnel vision of what's going on, and they get lost in the movie of the news or the day-to-day drama or this, you know, all this shit that's going on right now it's weird. Like, my grandfather is saying it's weird what's going on, and he's been around for over 80 years and nothing like this has happened to him like that. And
I mean, people get I'm sorry, keep going.
I was going to say, just being the kind of person I am, associating with the kind of stuff I have for the past few years, you know, like you guys are saying, the sheeple term, I don't use that term, but I understand it to its full extent, in that people are just following this specific perception of reality. And as of late, that perception of reality seems to be falling apart. And people are having, you know, me and my brother have talked about this sort of like universal ego death, this cultural ego death, where everybody is getting uncomfortable with either the scenario they're in or themselves and the way they are, you know. And the ego death experience can be both ways, in that what's going on around you breaks down your sense of who you are and what this all is, and, you know, what are we doing, you know. And I feel like a lot of people are questioning, you know, how everybody is perceiving reality, to tie it back in. A lot of people are, like I said, whether it's questioning somebody else's perception of reality or they turn in and question their own. I feel like what's going on right now is a big breakdown of some sort, and I can't say for the good or bad, because that itself is a perception of reality, and, you know, however it actually happens is neutral. and how you feel about it and interpret it is that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That perception.
A good example of that for me, like, because people get so emotionally tied into things, like, because you began with the movies and how people get emotionally tied into a reality that doesn't exist. And when I move on to something like conspiracy theory rabbit hole, I'm releasing a video about this soon, but I went through this route, like I went through my spiritual awakening in March of this year after my solo shrooms trip that got like the most views that I've had on this channel. And I remember that I began to question lots of things, began questioning the government. I no longer believe in government or the belief in this mythological force of authority. It's a mythological entity, authority. And I also began to question COVID. I'm like, does this thing even exist? Like, what is this going on? I mean, if you know basic human body mechanisms, you create disease in your own body. And I began to question things like that. But then I just went down this rabbit hole where I kept seeing like New World Order, Agenda 21, like reptilians, shit like that. And, you know, I feel like there's a lot of truth embedded in these conspiracies, but I let it get in my head and I started perceiving it. I started perceiving it as if, like, this is going to happen for sure. Like, the world's fucked up. Oh, God. Like,
Kind of lost yourself from that.
Yeah.
During your spiritual awakening period, you were kind of like fucking losing it type thing?
Yeah, yeah.
No, I think I've had one too, and I've been there as well. And, you know, that's a great example of it. You completely were looking outward at the reality and at the perceptions of others and what was going on, and, you know,
Exactly.
holy fuck, this is a very weird, fucked perception and way to be.
Yeah.
During my spiritual awakening, or whatever was actually happening, it seemed to be completely on me and inward, like my perceptions of reality. Like, I remember specifically, like, standing in my room after my first LSD trip, and then this was a day after, and I'm looking at all my, you know, my tapestries like this, and my posters, and my table with, like, Buddha statues and mala beads and crystals and stuff, and I'm like, I felt like fake. I felt like a poser. I felt like it was like, who are you trying to be? Like, what are you trying to live up to? It's all already here. It's all the truth of who you are, of what's going on, is here now. And it requires no sort of search, no sort of, you know, you don't need these statues and all this stuff around you to be true to yourself. And that was fucking hard on me. And it did turn outward eventually, you know. And I could say it's kind of like that now, where, I mean, yes, I still question my own perceptions quite a lot. But when I don't watch TV, like, at all, really.
Yeah,
but
I don't
when I
either.
watch TV... Wait, say something? I don't know if I hear you guys properly.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just saying that after, I mean, I don't know when it was, but I think it was around after my spiritual awakening, I kind of just gave up TV. I don't look at sports the same way.
Me neither.
I don't even...
Politics is a sport.
Yeah, politics
yeah.
too. I mean, I didn't even, like, mention sports in my TV perception of reality, because sports is under that category because people are so engaged emotionally into this game played by other men or other women.
Yeah.
So it's like,
yeah, I know.
it's just weird. Like, it's weird to think about.
Like I've looked at, like, I mean, this completely has to do with perception of reality. I mean, I look at a crowd of people at, like you're talking about, like a sport, like a basketball or football game, like at a stadium or something, and they're all eating and talking and, like, cheering and laughing and making all these gestures. When you look at the reality of it, neutrally, you know, which obviously is this sort of perception of what's going on, it looks like this just organism doing this weird, like I want to say like maggots, like just doing this weird like thing. You know what I mean? And it's like, what is going on right now? We're such creatures. We're such like animal. We're so like alien, and I don't know.
Yeah,
Perception of reality when you see a big group of culture all confined together, just doing the culture thing, which is, in my opinion, where the separation between reality and perception of reality occurs is through, you know, at first your parents, before you were exposed to culture really, or social society, but then eventually as you got older in school and like work and stuff, you're being exposed to every single day the cultural perception of reality, which is, from what I've experienced, so friggin' far from what reality actually is at its truth.
Yeah,
you know?
You're conditioned since you're young in school to look up and be obedient to authority figures, whether that's a teacher, faculty members, your parents, lawmakers, you know, like people like that get to decide what is moral or not. These people that claim this right to rule us, even though they're the same exact type of people as us, they claim this right to rule us, and they make these rules. No matter how egregious, they make these rules, and if you disobey, then you're seen as bad, or you're seen as immoral, or as a criminal, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, we're indoctrinated from a young age to believe reality is this one way of thinking, that we have to believe in authority, we have to trust these people because they tell us what to do, and we are conditioned. Like, I was reading this book earlier talking about how basically like the world's schooling system is modeled after the Prussian schooling system, where they basically condition kids at a young age to be obedient, so that when they're adults they don't really question anything, that they're able to go into the workforce and be able to just work, not have to question things, not question the reality, and people just work, live, and die, and never come to fulfillment.
You know, I don't know about you guys, but once again, the things I've associated myself with the past few years, which have changed my perceptions of reality, which is actually something I wanted to touch on at one point. You look at another person that, you know, is a part of that work-like thing you were talking about, where they're just doing this, go to work, come home, sleep, go to work, come home, sleep, and it's like this cycle of, and it's like they're not even there in how you feel, you know, through all this stuff you've done. It's like they're just a robot doing this thing. But the truth of it is, they are there, but they haven't noticed themselves, I guess, you know. And in a way, and I guess my perception, yourself is the true reality, your true self. When you notice that, you know, it makes a complete differentiation between what you've been taught your whole life and these people who haven't, I guess, noticed themselves, if you know what I mean, are like still tunnel vision in that movie or in the news, you know? Like, they haven't looked, like Rupert Spira says this. They're watching the movie and somebody says, look at the screen. Now what do you do to change what you're looking at? You know? A shift in awareness. And that shift in awareness is the same shift in perspective, really, of your perception of what's going on and what is actually going on at its foundation, you know?
Yeah. It's it's like, it's just weird to think about it in that sense, because there's so much that goes on that your true reality is you. I mean, you know,
oh my god.
I mean, to bring it back to like
that
something
statement right there.
When you bring it back to something more political, like the whole like Black Lives Matter campaign, I originally was kind of like letting my ego get in the way of things and trying to debate people about political matters, and it started taking like a negative toll on me, because I started kind of like getting like angry with people for having this belief like, oh, like we should defund the police, Black lives, like all these black people are always getting shot and murdered all the time. And I'm like, yeah, okay, like I disagree with them, but I was letting my ego get in the way too much, and I need to start looking at other people's reality and listening to what they have to say before I make a judgment. I mean, when it boils down to politics, it gets in the way of reality, because you're too focused on this third dimensional aspect of people constantly talking about injustices, when in reality injustice happens to everyone, is inflicted on everyone because of sadistic governments or just people coercively trying to control you. And then that's basically what government is. They try to force you against your will to abide to their laws or their rules. And
you know how you were talking about authority?
Yeah.
When you were talking about that, I actually just remembered last night during that trip I was having, we were sitting around the fire, you know, and if you've ever been there during, you know, a psychedelic trip with your friends, having a good time, talking, laughing, you go deep, and then, you know, you get all serious, or you start, or you like somebody makes a joke and it's just super funny. Well, all of a sudden I thought, imagine Trump here, like his presence here hanging out with us, and how outlandish that seems because of the images that are imposed, the perception of reality, that which fucking isn't reality at that point. You look at that and you say, Trump could never hang out with us right now, because he's so high up, you know, he's the president, and he's got these big muscly guys around him to protect him so you can't get too close to him, you know, and they'll beat you up, you know, and it's like, that just seems so weird in that moment. It's like, who does he think he is, you know? And it's not in the like offensive, insultive term, who do you think you are?
Yeah.
Like, really, as who he is, who does he think he is? You know,
from an ego
how do you
standpoint,
think he feels?
Yeah. Like, how does he feel? Like, what is his identity? How does he truly feel about everything going on in the world right now? Because the media shapes him to be like evil, this horrible, racist, misogynist person. You know, I'm not pro like politician on any side, because honestly,
dude,
it's a puppet show. I don't
even know like really what's going on in politics. Like I said, I don't watch TV. I have Facebook, you know, and that in itself is a completely distorted perception of reality, which is I know is a point you guys were making of media and what you're portrayed through media. I've deleted Facebook a few times, but just because of the nonsense, you know, how people are acting and what it would really boil down to, and in the simplest way is who people think they are, like what people are doing, what they think purpose is and meaning and what's meaningful in life, you know? And like the advertisements and the drama and the politics, and it's like child stuff. And when I was a kid, I thought growing up, becoming an adult, you were gonna like, I guess, be like all the adults you were seeing, but something was gonna happen to you where you understood and you were super powerful like an adult too. I'm 19, and in our cultural perception of reality, 18, you're an adult. So okay, I'm an adult now. Poof. Okay. What has changed? You know, what I've done these past years with my life, maybe I've just distorted my perception of reality, but what I have began to see is that what this culture I'm in sees as reality is so far gone from what reality actually is, you know? And I can't describe what reality is, because that is the perception of reality. You know, that like what I was saying about that coffee cup, like describe the coffee cup. Describe the coffee cup without, you know, using your thoughts, using your memory of what you've been taught, because the experience of it is just what it actually is. What's there, the feeling of it if you touch it, what it looks like, what it smells like if it smells like something. That is the reality. But your perception of the reality is coffee cup. Oh, it holds my coffee. And you know what I mean? And you go off on a tangent.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I need, you know?
That which makes me want to move towards dreams, because this man hasn't added anything. He hasn't added anything to the discussion. I wanted you to talk a little bit.
You guys were going off for a good 30 minutes.
I was going to ask you a direct question.
Yeah, I was hoping you were going to add something.
Yeah, I mean, you guys said you were going to go for like 10 minutes, you know. It was like 30 minutes.
Well, I mean, the part of it, like the subtopics was to have like all of us be engaged into.
All right, so dreams. Now, I've been looking into dreams a lot lately because I had one specific dream that, and typically I don't remember like my dreams very well, but I had one dream in specific that I remembered like vividly, and it was so weird, but I started looking into it more and the true meaning of dreams, and I started looking up the significance of what happens if, say, you're being chased by something, or if you're in like a forest in a dream. And it really intrigued me because I think dreams really do have hidden messages in them, and they could be, I think it's really your spirit guides trying to connect with you and show you something and try to direct you in a path that you need to go, and as well try and show you things that you can work on. So I wanted to know if you guys could touch on that, or your experiences with dreams as well.
Well, there was a certain period of my life where I was actually attempting lucid dreaming. I don't know if you guys have ever
I've actually
achieved.
I tried doing astral projection, but
Me too, bro.
Anytime I get to the point where I start feeling like loss of sense of body, like I kind of have like a physical shock and I return back.
Yeah.
Like I never get far, like very far at all. Like I maybe get to like step 2 out of 5.
You guys, sleep paralysis?
Yeah, I've had that before.
You have?
Yeah.
He has.
Yeah, one time.
Is it like what they describe it?
Honestly, for me, it really wasn't, but I could see how it could be a lot worse because I had like this, I'll say my experience. So I was just sleeping and I had a dream about like this bee, and all of a sudden I woke up and there's like this bee on my bed and I could not move, but it wasn't that scary because I'm not like afraid of bees or anything.
Right.
But had it been like a shadow figure in the window, which is what a lot of people describe their
or like literally ghost shit or a demon sitting on them.
Yeah, or like right above them, then I could see how it'd be a lot scarier. But to me, it was just more so scary because of the fact that I couldn't move. And that was just an odd feeling to me.
Oh, okay. So that reminds me of something, actually. So if people in sleep paralysis actually, I've read stories about people going through that. I guess that would be like similar to astral projection, because people talk about astral projection, how they immediately come out of their body and then they see like demons and shit like right away.
Bro.
And my girlfriend had a sleep paralysis incident, I guess, a couple months ago, and she was talking about how like somebody was like, there's like a bunch of windows and shit in her house, and somebody was just like looking at them and like just shattering the windows and everything. It was like this shadow figure.
Wow.
It's weird.
So she had a rough experience with it then.
Yeah.
One of my friends actually, who's a bit younger than me, years ago described to me an experience before I even really knew what sleep paralysis was, how like he took a nap in the middle of the day, which later on after I was studying is a good way to get sleep paralysis, is because your mind is still in this active state and all of a sudden you put yourself to sleep in a nap, it throws you off. He says he wakes up and he can't move and he sees this like demon, like shadow demon thing, and it kept popping its head up on outside his window in different areas of the window, and then all of a sudden he woke up and was able to move. But in that period of my life where I was doing that stuff, that was why I stopped, really, was the sleep paralysis thing. You know, I'd try to get into this lucid dream or astral project, and I was just too scared to not be able to move.
Yeah, it's scary to think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes to show, though, that, like, your perception of reality, even if you're being yourself and everything, may not even be reality, because people that astral project, they are able to emerge into, like, the next dimension. Or, like, I don't know how to explain it, but I know, like, it has to be real. It's not just this mass hallucination. Like,
bro, oh my god, that stuff, I'm sorry if I interrupted you, but that's something that I settled that with myself a while ago. The idea of like, and it started with psychedelics. The hallucinations, are they fake? You know, what does that even mean? What does that even mean? We don't, you know, think about it. You're experiencing it as much as you experience this. It's in the same fabric of this right here when it's happening, you know. What about it is fake? Yeah. Because it's all of a sudden different than how it usually is. You say it's fake, or your brain's fucking like error, having a malfunction. We don't call our dreams fake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We don't, oh, that was fake.
Yeah.
No, we agree. We can agree. Oh, yeah, dreams are real. Yeah, of course they're real. Dreams exist. Well, dreams are the same visualization through, you know, like, I don't know how much you guys have heard about the idea that dreaming is DMT being released in your brain.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was
sleeping.
actually thinking.
I actually
Yeah.
have
What's that?
I was just thinking that in my head. Like, I'm like DMT is released while you're sleeping, which is what causes your dreams.
I actually have not heard that before.
That makes me want to say something about what you said, Will. Meaning, the meaning in dreams. I can agree with you. There are dreams that maybe not during it, but after you wake up and you go, wow, that was meaningful. You interpret this message from it. Mm-hmm. But a lot of the time, in my experience of dreaming, it's very chaotic. It's very confusing, falling apart. Yeah. It's very psychedelic. It's very trip-like.
Right. It's odd.
Yes,
all
exactly.
over the place,
Odd is a great way to put it. And I mean, not to argue with you, I've woken up many times from dreams going, you know, what the hell did that eat, you know? And that doesn't mean there is no meaning to it. You know what I mean? Maybe years down the road you go, oh, okay. Because you know how randomly you can just remember something you've never remembered and been like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. In my experience, that can happen with a dream. All of a sudden you remember in your mind this dream landscape. And you're like, what the frig? That looks weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely.
That reminds me, I had this, so a couple months ago I went to Napa Valley with my girlfriend, and something about one of these tunnels we drove through just seemed familiar. And then when we parked into this in the parking garage there, and I could have sworn that I had a dream that I've been to the same parking garage, but I'd never been to Napa before.
Mm-hmm. I actually, to bring up psychedelics again, Deja Vú, the feeling that you're in the same thing that's happened before.
I just had that earlier today.
Yeah, literally.
When I was texting you earlier, and I had this weird feeling like, I feel like I was doing this before, like in this moment, like I've lived this before almost.
Yeah, but it's like in psychedelic trips, you get that a lot. At least I feel like when I'm at a certain point, I just feel like I've been there before. You know what I mean? Like,
yes. Last night, I took LSD, and dude, I haven't taken LSD in almost a year, and one of the almost a year ago, there was like a span of just when I was doing it. And one of those times, we did what I did last night, out by the fire, tripping, having a good time talking. And last night I do it. And I'm coming up, and during, the peak, and we're hanging out, I realize what's happening right now feels identical to that trip over a year ago. I feel like I'm in the same moment. It feels like it hasn't stopped, and it was a little different than Deja Vú, but it was this feeling like I'm back in the same place. This moment has already happened, I guess. And another time, I got stuck in Deja Vú. I mean, stuck in Deja Vú, but I was watching YouTube videos on a psychedelic, and the video was fails, a collage of a compilation of fails. It was posted that day. I swore I had watched it. I had seen this a week or two ago. But these are all brand new videos that are just being posted, and you know what I mean? And I was like, this happened already. I saw this video already, but it had just been posted. And like the sequence of each video, one to the next, I was like, I've seen this before, but I couldn't have because it had just been posted. It was weird. You could call that a distorted perception of reality, but Deja Vú, I think, is to bring back meaning. In the same way a dream, you can derive this meaning from it. When you find yourself all of a sudden blasted into that deja vu feeling, pay attention. That's the thing that I've realized, Pay attention to what's going on, because something very meaningful could lie right there if you catch it, you know what I mean? If you just notice what's going on during that feeling, because who knows what that feeling is. It's very surreal. We all agree about that.
And I think dreams, and especially psychedelic trips, have something to do with our perception of time, because in a psychedelic trip, your time is all thrown off. Like, it's not even there, basically. 5 minutes feels like a few days, weeks maybe.
That was probably it, too.
Yeah, and then in your dream, too, you may have something that hasn't happened yet occur in your dream, or somewhere you've seen that hasn't happened yet occur in your dream,
yeah.
or something even in the past, maybe, like a long time ago, like childhood memories or something like that. Also in psychedelic trips that pop up while you're tripping. And I feel like, I don't know, I feel like our perception of time, I don't really know where I'm going with this. But...
Well, I mean, I'll continue off that, because it brings into question, is deja vu like this signal from the universe, or does it, I know you have a video title, I haven't watched it yet, but a video title is the universe infinite or sequential. It makes you think, like, so if it's sequential, that would mean that it would run in the constant time loop. So it's something that you have experienced, and that's why you once in a while get those visions or those dreams or those feelings of deja vu.
Oh, okay. I see.
In our experience of time, it is placed in infinites. It's always going on while we're here. Time. Time is an imagined perception. It's not a part of reality. And this is I don't know what you guys have done as far as your spiritual teachings and practices, whether it was just with psychedelics and stuff, but I associate with Buddhism and Eastern mysticism very much so. And what was I just saying?
You're talking about Eastern Buddhism, how you're I kind of forgot too.
Oh my God,
man.
Hold on, give me a few seconds.
Yeah.
I may remember. No, it's completely gone.
Something about time?
Dude, maybe I feel like,
wait, hold on. It was deja vu. Oh, infinite or sequential. Okay, I got it. I'm back on it. Time isn't in the universe, Time is something created through our perception of the universe and reality, Same as math. Math isn't in reality. Math is in our perception of reality. In that same coffee cup scenario I keep bringing up, math is like the coffee cup. That description of reality is, in essence, not existent, besides the fact that you're thinking about it, if you want to call that existing. But in the experience of what's happening, the perceptions of time and math and this feeling of moving from one moment to the next sequence, I don't think that's actually happening in reality. I think it's entirely a perception-based thing because, like you were saying, Will, in psychedelic trips and in certain dreams I've had, you're right, time isn't a thing. Mm-hmm. You could, and it's completely like twisting and warping too. Like you can feel like it's like 10 minutes ago, or like time isn't moving on, or time is going by insanely fast, or there is no time. And I feel like that feeling is reality. You're getting a glimpse of the timeless nature of existence, because in that video I talk about, is the universe infinite or sequential? How could it not be infinite? Where does it stop?
But if it's infinite,
why can't you go outside of that? And where is it? If it has an edge, where is that?
I feel like we would have to constantly be in this loop, though. If deja vu actually has a significance, those feelings that like we've done something before, we've been there before, we've noted, we've had these dreams or premonitions, if that exists, then I feel like would that err on the side of infinite or sequential in terms of like a time loop, where this is something that we've lived?
I was thinking in a physical term.
That we live it for like eternity. You know, we live that loop for eternity.
Will existence stop at one point?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dive into what that question. Dive into that question. What does that mean? Will existence stop? Well, supposedly, in what we are right now, we're gonna die.
Yeah.
And we don't know what's gonna happen after. But here we are, experiencing what's going on, perceiving reality. And in essence, yes, we are perceiving reality. But there is another layer of us that perceives our perception of it in a completely distorted way, But, oh my gosh, I forgot where I was going again.
Oh, man.
Do you remember what I was just saying a moment ago?
We're talking about infinite or sequential, and you're talking about...
Oh, yes, the diving into the question, could it stop?
Yeah.
How could it? In your experience, how could it stop? What would that mean and imply? You know what I mean?
What would it be like?
Like everything would have to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Even if we say, yes, death, sure, it's like being asleep or before you were born. But everything as well, including the space in which it's all taking place, would have to stop. What does that mean? How does space stop? How does what's happening stop? Can it? Because what I've philosophized about, I don't think it can. When I try to describe to myself what it would be a lack of consciousness. A lack of, but that doesn't mean nothing is there. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist. You just aren't aware of existence, which is so weird to think about. You're not perceiving reality.
It's like your perception of reality. Like you perceive your perception of reality.
Yes.
So you really have this.
Like I said, I really associate with this Buddhist shit.
No, yeah, I feel you, because I'll make this concise, but I feel like things don't happen without a reason, and that I've just started becoming more philosophical and spiritual just as of this year, but I'm getting more into it. I'm taking a Buddhism class later this fall.
Really?
Yeah, for ASU Online.
Dude, that's cool.
And I'm more interested in Eastern philosophy and Eastern integrative health medicine.
Yes. Because
this is something that I want to do for my career and help people with that, start up my own business. And it just makes me think, were we meant to collide together? And I feel like we connect. We genuinely can, even though we're talking on a fucking camera and shit. It's weird.
And your pixels.
Yeah.
But like you said, however long ago, you're real.
Yeah.
I'm actually here right now in my experience, and you two are chilling right over there. And all I've known of you guys is all I've known of the reality of who you are is through these videos.
Yeah.
But here I am, talking to one of your videos. You know what I mean? It's cool, and I completely get the connection thing. And I feel like where that comes from is people who associate with this kind of stuff have changed their perceptions of reality. And that was something I wanted to touch on. I said that a while ago, but...
Yeah, let's wrap this up, and we'll do 5 minutes how to change your perception of reality.
Okay, I got you. I know this video has freaking came out.
Yeah,
way
it's almost
longer
an
than I
hour
thought it
now.
was gonna. How long?
It's 55 minutes.
Oh my goodness!
all
Will
good,
you
though.
guys be able to even upload this?
Oh, yeah, no, it's fine.
Okay,
I'll just
good,
split it in
good.
half.
That'll be awesome. It's more like a podcast now.
Yeah, that's what I was saying too.
No, changing your perception of reality. The people that do the kind of things we do have drastically changed their perceptions of reality, you know? And I can't speak on behalf of what you guys have done, but through my changes in these perceptions of reality, I've lost the perceptions of reality, you know, and things begin to get very subtle and very simple and very meditative and non-communicable. Do you know?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like
you become to be more present.
Completely there.
Like, you become more present and aware of things. You're more like, you try to enjoy things more with authenticity. Because, like, for example, and this applies under changing your perception of reality and, like, how to change it, is people, we never noticed the changing of the seasons until, like, this year.
Oh, yeah.
We were so excited. Yeah, we were, like, so excited for the springtime
Now, fall.
that we just were, like, going on a walk every Wednesday and smoking some weed and just like, oh, shit, this is so cool. Like, and every day, once a week we did this, and we saw just how much nature was changing. And now it's summer, and we're like, fuck, we're ready for fall. Yeah. But I mean, like, changing your perception of reality, you have to be, like, consciously aware of what you're perceiving, and you have to, I mean, I don't know how to explain it, because you're talking about, like, being in a meditative state, I mean, which most people can't do.
When you see what's going on, when you notice what's going on, the perception of it falls away. In what I identify as the perception of reality, you know, because I understand that your guys' definition of perception of reality may be different. But when you see reality, when you notice, you know, the seasons changing, or you just look at something, you know, you get up close to your bed sheets, and every little woven in piece, millions of threads are making up this bed sheet. You know, the what you were told about, oh, it's just a bed sheet, you know, you realize how immense and how complicated and just in depth reality actually is. And when you get on that train and start noticing all this other stuff, it seems infinitely complex. Mm-hmm. And the perceptions, what you have been structuring in your mind your whole life about what this all is, what reality is, really quickly starts falling away or changing, in other words. And, you know, it makes you a more wholesome person. It makes you a more true, down-to-earth person, you know, that isn't in this whole distorted game of culture, or I'm better than you are, I'm prettier than you are, I'm this, I'm that. Because all you become is here. You become the reality that you actually are, minus the perception of it. You are just it. You are it. Alan Watts talks about that, and it is dead on. You are it. You know? Yeah. I actually think I commented that on one of your guys.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, I feel like that's the reason why we feel a connection, is because, and I also said this earlier, but when I have a conversation about someone with sports or, you know, something going on in the world, it doesn't feel the same, and I feel like I'm not able to talk about how my actual feelings. But when we talk here, or when I talk to people who have the same, you know, beliefs and who have been through the same, not the same obviously, but they've done psychedelics and they've had spiritual awakenings, it feels like different. I feel like I can actually open up and, you know,
yes, dude.
I can like talk about these things that I want to talk about.
You are being the reality
yes,
that you are.
Yes,
You're
exactly.
not hiding
exactly.
shit. You're not, you know, what you see reality as. I don't know about you guys, but in my day-to-day life, my work life, it's just, and I'll try to wrap this up quick. I'm constantly holding back and restraining who I am
Exactly.
and how I feel,
Yep.
you know? And just like you were just saying, man, when I communicate with people like this, you know, that are actually here, it is beautiful and so fascinating and makes me so much more grateful about reality. Yes, and what is actually happening. And yes, this is a perception, but being given to us, the experience of existence, and I feel it completely. I'm very grateful that, you know, the collab we did a few months ago, I don't even know how we began communicating with each other, but this is why I started this channel, to talk with people like you guys about reality, about what actually is, you know, and perception of reality is a very good topic, and I think that's why we've strayed so many times throughout this video.
Because it's fun.
Because all that is perception of reality.
So I'm gonna make like a final statement, and then we'll go around in a circle here, I guess. And then he'll say his last thing, and then you say yours. But
yes,
like basically, what I kind of like wanted to sum up is that you said you are it. Alan Watts quote that when you're yourself, you attract what you are. You use the law of attraction, and we somehow attracted each other through our beliefs or our channels or what we kind of talk about. We kind of had a similarities, I guess that's what you can call it. And it brings me to how to change your perception of reality. You can't really tell somebody exactly how to do that, but one thing you need to do is just give some advice. Like, I think some advice that I would give is to be open-minded in conversation with others, be open-minded about the research you've done, open-minded about reversing your indoctrination by having like a conscious willingness to be mindful of the information you've come across. And I mean, that's all I really had to say there. And
yeah,
that's an amazing final statement.
Yeah. So for me, like I was going on about at the end there about having conversations with you guys finally, you know, I think because I had my spiritual awakening this time last year, so it was before him, and he was still probably my best friend at the time, but I knew nobody else that, you know, was spiritual or had really done psychedelics for a spiritual benefit. And I was telling all these people about these ideas and these experiences that I was going through, and nobody was buying into it. So for the longest time, I kind of just held myself. Like I didn't show my true self, and I
questioned it probably.
Yeah,
am I doing something wrong?
Absolutely, I questioned it a lot.
Yeah.
And it like held me back, and I became more of like an egotistical person and started getting more involved into like the third dimensional aspects of the world. And then finally, when he had his spiritual awakening, I felt more spiritual and was able to talk more about certain things that were on my mind then that I couldn't speak on. And it's great to have this platform like, you know, YouTube to connect with, you know, guys like you and basically just everybody out here.
You two were friends,
right?
Asleep and woke up together,
right?
Yeah,
and
that is one of the most beautiful things you can experience, and it's what I went through with my brother. You know, I don't know if you've seen any of the stuff, but you know, the experience of waking up with others around you, around the world through platforms like this, it's an honor, and it makes it seem so much more viable, and you know, much more easy to just let into it and understand that all this stuff that has been being pressured on you, you know, it's not how it is. It's not how it is. And to make my final statement, and I want to formulate this well, so I'm not going to rush into it. Your perception of reality is what makes you depressed, anxious, envious, regretful, feel cool, feel this, feel that. Reality is neutral. Reality just is. The feeling of depression minus, oh no, I'm depressed, this sucks. The feeling of depression is not depressed. You know? You see?
No, yeah, I've
the
had
reality of the situations going on are not what you make them out to be through your perceptions. So be careful. Break down your perceptions of reality. Ask, why do I think that is a coffee cup? Why do I think Donald Trump is so high up? Why do I think I'm ugly? You know, those distorted perceptions of reality are what are taunting culture and poisoning people. Innocent people. People like us. The connection we feel are those people too, man. Guys. You know, they are like us. They just haven't noticed, you know, I've heard you guys say spiritual awakening. They haven't had that spiritual awakening. You know, they're stuck in a perception of reality. And it's very sad because they're born into it. So break down your perceptions of reality and see reality for the truth that it actually is, the silentness that it actually is, the non-communicable beauty of what's actually going on. So that's my final statement.
Amen, brother.
Yeah.
All right.
I want to thank you guys very much for, I probably won't be able to upload this to my channel, so this will serve as a great conversation, and I hope it changed some perceptions of reality, broke some perceptions of reality down, and like you guys have been saying, it's kind of made a connection. You know,
Yeah.
you guys are some cool people.
Oh, yeah.
And whatever you do, I think you guys live in California, how you live your lives, you guys are doing some good shit. You guys are doing some good shit with your minds and what you're noticing
So
about
are you,
reality.
man.
Yeah.
So are
It's
you.
beautiful.
So are you, man.
And then maybe we can make this a regular thing, do a part 2, another conversation or something like that too.
I've wanted to call it the collaboration conversation.
We'll just...
I like that.
We'll
Yeah.
keep in touch for
Yeah.
sure. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
All right, man. We're going to make it a wrap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, good one. Thank you guys very much.
All right, thank you, man. See ya.
Yeah.